Massive news roundup. Season 1 is right around the corner. We've got the balance update, major changes coming to Season 1, all combined into this big news roundup. Importantly, the servers will be going down on January 9th, which is tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, then going up again January 10th at 1:10 a.m. And they say the server return times will vary based on the progress of them updating the game. So that means at the time of recording this video, you have about a day and a half to get into ranked, but keep in mind you're going to have a soft reset anyway by 7 divisions. Twitch drops for Season 1 begin January 10th at noon UTC, getting you a spray, nameplate, and costume all in time for Hela to be nerfed. Other things that we know we're getting in Season 1 from the dev update and blog. There'll be 4 new heroes added, the Fantastic Four split across 2 halves of the season. To begin, Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman, each with very flexible and dynamic kits. Both look like top meta characters due to their optionality and flexibility. The community's already deemed Susan Storm to be more overpowered due to the weight she puts up on her hip thrusts at the gym. They both seem like flexible teammates, with Susan having a shield that can heal her team and Mr. Fantastic having a block attack that can even interact ultimates. They'll both have a lot of plays to make. The Thing and the Human Torch will be coming in the second half of the season. There will be 3 new maps added over the course of the season and a new Doom match game mode. Season 1 is Dracula themed, and the fan favorite character Blade was spotted, hinting that he might be a playable character down the road. They'll be adding a new Celestial rank, a streamer mode, and adjustments to mouse acceleration all in Season 1. That's it for the general updates. Let's get into the balance patch now. Keep in mind this goes live with Season 1 on January 10th. There was a big question mark on how they're going to handle the team-ups that are supposed to be seasonal. They clarify that we will have the same team-ups as Season 0, new team-ups in Season 2, but they are going to be making adjustments for Season 1, which means all of the anchors are getting the flat bonuses, but some of them have been tuned down. Captain America is going to start regenerating his shield a second faster. You used to need 3 full seconds of downtime before it started regenning. Now it's just 2. Liberty Rush's cooldown goes down from 12 to 10. That's his dash ability. He gets 25 extra health just for fun. And his ultimate Freedom Charge will be cheaper, but also slightly less effective. So he'll get it a little bit faster, but your personal healing per second goes down from 110 to 100, which is very, very marginal, I'll say. The heal buff on your teammates remains the same, and I think just getting it faster. Overall, these are all buffs to Captain America. CA is one of my favorite heroes in the game, and I definitely think that this will escalate him to have way more uptime and control on the battlefield. Being more maneuverable and durable on the front line just means you'll have more opportunity even to charge your ult, and it charges at a faster rate than before. And since his mid-fight damage isn't that great, you're really trying to play and sustain for the ultimate. Significant buff for Captain America. Doctor Strange gets a couple key nerfs. Maelstrom of Madness and Gamma Maelstrom, that's his AoE attack on his E, gets an upgrade when he has Hulk on his team, now has a damage fall off starting at 5 meters of range and reducing it to 70% at 8 meters, which means he'll still be able to do his carry damage combos. He'll just have to get a little closer to guarantee those frags. And as Strange is deemed the best tank in the game, it's not surprising to see his shield get nerfed a little bit, slightly decrease the shield value recovery rate after releasing Shield of Seraphim from 80 down to 70 per second, which is the opposite of what they did to Captain America. Now Strange will have more downtime before his shield is fully recharged. And top players often will min-max it by sneaking in attacks in between shielding, so this will have ripple effects on his overall tanking uptime. Thor gets a pretty substantial buff here, 25 base health. That's not the big one, but he now has added immunity to crowd control effects during his God of Thunder ultimate ability. A lot of other tank ults can be stunned or slept, particularly Strange ult as he's casting it. You can get hook stunned out of it and lose your ult entirely. Now Thor will have a guaranteed ult, which is a big deal. Keep in mind as well, he has a good team up with Captain America, who just got buffed. Hulk's personal shield bubble gets a nerf. The ally shield's value is 100. That remains the same, but his personal shield goes down from 250 to 200. The amount you tank with those bubbles is important because taking damage on the bubble charges your ultimate. So this certainly will add up over time, slowing down your ult generation, but also meaning a lot of things will be able to blast through the bubble in order to finish Hulk potentially. Venom gets some buffs. This is the first patch though. I'm going to say it looks like a mistake in my opinion. His personal shield gets a flat buff. It used to be you press your E and then you'll gain shield health based on the amount of health you have missing. It was 100%. Now it's at a 120%. So a 20% buff on the overall tanking health. He can face tank way more now, and I already thought that was pretty good from him. It wasn't like that's the area he was struggling with, in my opinion. However, his ultimate probably did deserve this buff. Feast of Abyss normally deals 50% of the target's health, which makes it good at chipping down and engaging on tanks, and it used to deal 40 base damage. Now it goes up to 50, which means you can also use it to finish off low targets. And keep in mind, 100% of that damage dealt is converted into bonus health. My big Venom tip for you today is to plan to use the swing to get out rather than using it to get in, and instead run on walls to set up high in the sky and use your slam and tether to engage. That cooldown cycle is quite effective against a lot of things, and now Venom will just be much more obnoxious, and he already was doing fine in my opinion. He just doesn't have as much skill expression as some of the other heroes. Black Panther gets a nerf, reduce the additional health provided to self after refreshing Vibranium marks with Spirit Rend from 40 to 30, and the upper limit of additional health provided from 120 to just 75. This looks like a heavy-handed nerf on paper, but keep in mind that they're also going to be nerfing some of the sniper characters. These numbers look a little severe, but Black Panther's playstyle I think will probably still fit in the new meta. Black Widow is deemed the worst character in the game. Let's see the buffs that the sniper character got. Increased the range of the first effect of Edge Dancer from a 3 meter to 5 meter radius. Okay, so this is her roundhouse kick, which CCs enemies and allows them to be set up for a follow-up shot. 5 meters is kind of insane. She's gonna outrange quite a few melee characters even with her defensive tool. And by the looks of it, they're trying to make her more brawly, not necessarily buffing her sniping capability. Next buff, they reduce the time required for Fleet Foot to recover from 0 stamina to full from 12 seconds to just 4, allowing you to sprint around a lot more freely. And considering you spend a lot of time in scope anyway, that means you'll be able to sprint all the time whenever you would want to, I feel. Because you don't even need the full stamina bar a lot of the times. Her ultimate gets a buff where it reduces the time required for ectoplasma explosion to reach maximum power from 1 full second to 0.6 of a second. So almost half of a second charge time. I almost wonder if this thing's bugged because I've never seen it kill anything. Not once. Like, I know it applies a slow, I've seen that work, but supposedly it does up to 170 maximum explosion damage in an 8 meter radius. In my experience, it's been the least threatening ultimate I've ever seen. We'll see how Black Widow fares in season 1. She's here established as being more of a quick scope brawler than a long range sniper. Hawkeye is one of the most banned characters in Ranked, will be decreasing the medium long range damage capability, reducing the threatening combat radius, and slightly improving the close range combat resistance for the avenging archer, slightly reducing the spread angle between every 2 blast arrows, and reduce the triggering distance of passive ability Archer's Focus from 60 meters to 40 meters. Reduce the maximum additional damage of the passive from 80 to 70. Okay, so Blast Arrow is one of his 2 firing types. It's the one that shoots 3 explosive arrows. It wasn't as commonly used, but it actually gets buffed, so you're a little bit more effective at medium and close range. His passive, Archer's Focus, is what empowers his normal piercing arrow. That's the one that logs you from across the map. So the bonus damage from that overall, best case scenario, goes down to just 70 when he's fully winding up one of the piercing arrows, but also the range on it is probably the biggest thing. From 60 meters to 40, 60 meters is like legit the entire sniper distance, the longest range that you'll ever fight in the game, I feel like. 40 is more medium range. Other games have done weird fall-off distances for sniper characters, and this passive is their way to tune Hawkeye in this respect. So he can have full damage at closer range, but they can tune it more carefully to how he aims long range. To be honest, I still think he's going to be pretty effective, and in fact, getting a kind of new tool added to the kit that wasn't that good before. I think Hawkeye might still be a top tier pick. In fact, might even be better than before in the grand scheme of things, just worse at the long range logs. Hela, the goddess of death, has been a menace and will slightly decrease her combat strength. Straight up, her health goes down to 250. That's a huge nerf. Changing health points is one of the most heavy-handed nerfs you can give to a character because it changes the time to kill on them. Now, notably, her damage is not decreased, at least not here. It will be later in the team up, so keep that in mind. But Hela has a very full kit. I still think will be good, but maybe banned a little bit less than before because she'll be more counterable as well with lower health. Magik gets a buff in her ultimate. The Queen of Limbo needed an increase to her threat after unleashing her ultimate ability, increases Umbril's incursion damage in Darkchild form from 115 to 135. That is her E attack, which allows her to dash forward and launch up enemies, setting them up for further attacks. More deadly now in the ultimate. I felt Magik was one of the more good DPS in the game, so look out, support players who are going to probably be comboed a bit faster now once she pops that ult. Moon Knight gets a slight increase to the threat of his ultimate. The number of talons generated goes from 10 to 14, and they increase the explosion radius of each talon by an extra meter. It was 4, now it's 5. I'm gonna be real, that ult, when you place it and don't miss it, already was pretty lethal. Now it's gonna go nutso. I think especially a thing to look out for whenever these damage numbers in the ult fight are getting increased, pay close attention to what support ults can interact with that. Healing in the game overall has been quite strong in Season 0, but there's going to be certain breakpoints where perhaps with the right combo of things, you can overwhelm a Mantis ult, for example. Maybe not a Luna ult, we'll have to see the rest of the patch notes, but those are things I'm looking out for. Namor is more accurate with his eggs. The throwing feel of his 2 different spawns, the frozen or normal, will now be more accurate to the desired location. I never had a problem with my eggs, but hey, if you struggle to get your eggs up in position to where you wanted your eggs, now you can position your eggs better. Psylocke will be providing more options for other heroes to counter the Demon Slayer's ultimate. This is a little surprising. It says now Dance of Butterfly, her ultimate, will check for barriers, including Magneto's metal bulwark and Hulk's indestructible guard, which frankly I already felt countered this ultimate. And now, as far as I can tell from reading this, it's going to be even more effective because you'll more actively block it. Like there was some cases where maybe the bubble itself wasn't getting targeted by the ult. Now it will sort of just block it, I guess. I'm not sure how I feel about that, honestly. I suppose it takes the RNG out of bubbling the Psylocke ult for your team. But then also, if you can counter the whole ult with just a bubble, seems a little strong in the other direction, but we'll see. Psylocke certainly is a menace and a top tier pick regardless, so we'll have to watch how that plays out. The Punisher, slightly increasing the damage capability of Frank's weapons. Deliverance and Adjudication have a slightly reduced spread. Punisher already was a top pick. This buff, I think, is overkill, especially when you consider the fact that the sniper characters are getting nerfed overall. Hawkeye being more medium range will challenge Punisher, but kind of depends how the bans go at the higher ranks. Punisher, very, very underrated hero. A lot of tank pressure, great ultimate, insane team up with a rocket, infinite ammo on your shotgun now with a tighter spread will bully lots of tank lines. But hey, you might need it in order to flush out that Venom who gets infinite health on you now, it seems. Scarlet Witch's damage numbers are going to be retuned a bit. We're increasing Wanda's combat strength when she's facing duelists or strategists. This is important because, in fact, because of her percentage-based damage, her frontlining and zapping down targets was quite effective. Underrated, in fact, especially considering she can play kind of a front-to-back playstyle, punishing flankers. I'm not sure I like these patch notes because Scarlet Witch is such an easy character, and I actually think underrated, having a lot of matchups against melee characters that can't really contest her. But here's the number difference now. Chaos Control, which is her beam attack, will go up to 60 damage a second, making her even better against squishies. But it also has a percentage-based damage that was 5%, now going down to 3%. So overall, more consistent, incentivizing you to fight against the squishy characters more, but they still probably have a time to kill advantage on you anyway. So I don't actually know if I would consider this a net buff or not. Because if you get an actual battle with something that you aren't just countering, you probably still lose regardless. I would only advise you playing Scarlet Witch against the Spider-Mans and Iron Fists of the world. Oh, and her alternate fire projectile damage goes up by 5 from 30 to 35. But it also does an additional spell field damage of 35, so it'll do 70 if you hit it direct, whereas it was doing 65. But the AoE on it is a little bit more important. Keep that in mind anyway. Storm, the Weather Witch, needed an overall increase to her damage capability. We're also optimizing the feel of her left-click projectile and release experience of her ultimate ability. I'm a big fan of Storm, and I certainly need some release experience. Increase Wind Blade's projectile speed from 100 meters a second to 150 meters per second, and the left-click damage from 50 to 55. That's a massive buff. The damage, not so much, only up by 5, but keep in mind it does cleave, and it's going to be way easier to hit. Bolt Rush damage goes up from 70 to 80 as well, so in both cases, her time to kill is going to be actually significant now. Thank goodness Storm has finally received buffs. I love this hero. And if this video hits 5,000 likes, I'm going to make my girlfriend do a cosplay. So make sure you like the video and click subscribe as well as the bell icon to actually get notified when our Marvel Rivals videos come out. We've got a lot of cool guides and useful videos for you down the line for this brand new hero shooter we're all enjoying. Also a buff to her ultimate, which was already her best ability, which keep in mind, she'll charge faster now by dealing more damage. Storm gets mega buffed this patch. Oh my God. The bonus health provided for herself will be increased from 350 to 450, but following its conclusion, the extra health will no longer vanish instantly, but instead diminish at a rate of 100 per second. So you'll be even more effective after using the ultimate, literally storming through the entire team and then finishing off whoever's left. Squirrel Girl's ultimate will now be heat-seeking. The Squirrel Tsunami will now rush towards the nearest enemy after bouncing instead of bouncing randomly. That's insane, okay? Heat-seeking squirrels, look out, but the health on the tsunami itself goes down from 600 to 300. I've always dodged them myself, but I suppose you can shoot them. However, since there's a lot of melee characters in the game, you're not going to want to melee the squirrels as they're chasing you down. So this ult goes from being hard to use to incredibly effective from what I can tell. Winter Soldier, they're adjusting Bucky by decreasing the long-range combat strength and increasing his survivability in medium close-range combat. Increase to the bonus health provided by Biotic Hook and Tainted Voltage from 30 to 40. Increase Rodersturm's projectile damage from 70 to 75. Reduce the area damage from 70 to 65. And reduce the decay from 65% at 40 meters to 60%. And increase the base health from 250 to 275. Key takeaways here: area damage goes down, range down significantly, but way more brawly overall. I already thought Winter Soldier was one of the better heroes in the game, and as range in the game goes down in general, expect him to have a boost. Wolverine gets some buffs, which is a little surprising considering how well he performed once figured out by high-level players, but he gets an increase to his base health from 300 to 350, but Undying Animal, which is his extra shield ability, gets a significant nerf. It was 50% damage reduction, now it goes down to 40%. This kind of change means Wolverine will be a little bit less hard countered, smoothing out his gameplay a bit, being less value all in on that cooldown and a little bit more health, which makes him more forgiving. He had a bit of a boom bust performance. I think this will make him a little bit more reliable. Cloak and Dagger get 2 buffs. Dagger Storm, which is that AoE bubble healing field, has a reduced cooldown from 15 seconds to 12. Already, I thought this is one of the more potent support abilities in the game, so more uptime on that. Typically is on the tank fight. Super powerful when you play inside that thing. But on top of that as well, they increase the number of dashes in her ultimate from 3 to 4. Keep in mind, Cloak and Dagger players, you can stack them on the same area. So you can spread it across the entire objective, or you can increase its effect by stacking it in one spot. So actually, in some cases, this support ult is better than some of the other support ults that we highly rate. I'd say, especially after you heal amp your tanks, then drop your ultimate, I wouldn't say it's as good as Luna's, but it's probably better than Mantis's. Jeff's ultimate gets a significant nerf to its range, where the 10-meter sphere that it used to be now is just a 10-meter radius, with only a 5-meter high cylindrical spell field, which is not very tall, so flying heroes won't get sucked into the Jeff ult as much as before unless you're really hovering right above him. But an increase to his healing Joyful Splash from 140 to 150 per second. Overall, probably just a straight buff to Jeff, let's be honest. Luna Snow gets the weirdest change. I was told the designer of a different Marvel game brought Luna Snow into this game, and I swear he just must be a fan of his creation because it's making this character perform an entire concert in my game. That's fine with me, I guess, because every time Luna goes unbanned, I just pick her and win. Now there's a significant delay between switching between either heal or damage amp in her ultimate. It was a 0.1 of a second, meaning you could switch between attack or defense really quickly. Now it's half of a second of a delay, but you still have 12 seconds of ultimate. I will say this does definitely make the gameplay more interesting, as there's more severe decision making of whether you push-pull with more offense or heal more. So to that extent, I at least like that it makes it take a bit more brain power, but I think Luna Snow is still going to be a heavy contender in season 1, but perhaps behind the Invisible Woman, who releases immediately. Mantis, Nature's Favor, which is her passive that gives her a movement boost when not injured and healing over time when consuming life orbs. Now that movement boost goes down from 2.5 meters a second to 1.5, which I think does significantly change her uptime as flowing in and out of combat. Keeping and maintaining line of sight in the fight is one of the things that is making Mantis so good. But losing a bit of speed to do that, you might start to favor some of the other slower backliner characters in a similar position. Adam Warlock, for example, his kit is really good, but Mantis has a sleep and does all of the same things almost. The gap between them probably closes a bit with this nerf. Rocket Raccoon gets a buff to his healing orbs. They now deal 70 per second. Remember, that's in an AoE, slowing down on the target that's injured as it collides with them. Rocket's my favorite support. I already felt I could rack up insane healing numbers with the character, but keep in mind, when you buff either damage or healing, the rate that you charge your ultimate also increases, and I'd say that's probably Rocket's major weakness, that the other support ults are clearly better, especially with the game getting a bit more mid-range and buffs to Punisher. I feel Rocket's stock is raising a bit. On to the team-ups now. The wording of this patch note has me laughing a little bit. To further tone down Hawkeye's oppression, we'll be reducing his seasonal buff. It goes down to 15% from 20. And in theory, you could play him with Black Widow, who are both kind of medium-range sniper skill shot characters. I don't know what I think about Black Widow yet. I don't think ranged effectiveness is going away anytime soon. Surely adding another actual viable ranged option will increase its merit as well. Hela, Thor, Loki. She was the anchor in that one and was receiving a 20% damage bonus. Now that goes down to 15 as well. I especially felt her ability to headshot tanks just was way too good. I'm not so sure her dueling will feel all too different, but certainly farming up ult, which is one of the better damage ults there is. Hela gets toned down. The Luna Namor combo will be buffed. Namor's frozen spawn's damage goes up to 27. The slow effect on enemies goes up to 30, and the berserk state of the frozen spawn damage goes up to 18. Rocket Raccoon's infinite ammo beacon now has a reduced cooldown to 40 seconds. Scarlett Witch Magneto, the team up that gives Magneto metallic fusion, gets buffed up a bit. Keep in mind, this was nerfed down since beta. Now this is like a halfway point, I believe, between the two values. The damage on the projectile itself and the AoE goes up by 5 each. So it used to do 85 per swing. Now it's going to do 95 per swing. The Thor Captain America Storm team up is getting buffed for Storm, where Charged Gale has a reduced cooldown down to 15 seconds, and the damage goes up to 55. Combined with Storm's other improvements, having another damage ability surely finally means she can win a duel. And guys, that's everything for the patch notes for Season 1. Keep in mind it goes live on Friday the 10th, with the servers going down Thursday night. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave it a like, and don't forget to click subscribe and the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos come out. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch, or your Rivals Watch now. We'll see you guys next time.